Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening. It is January 30th. We're at the end of the month. One more day in this month, and it will be the first month will be over. These days just go by so fast.
Absolutely.
You've reached Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And we have another amazing, fantastic show for you all tonight. As you all who watch the show regularly know, last week we celebrated our 600th guest, which was quite an accomplishment, if we should say so ourselves. And we are really happy that we're one of the enduring, long-lasting, long-running podcasts / shows on the web that's specifically for African American literature. So we have a wonderful lineup for you all tonight again, and I have a couple of housekeeping notes. And one is that the registration is open for the National Black Book Festival. The dates for this year are October 17th through the 19th. So if you want to register as an author, now's the best time during the early bird special rate. Also, the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards process is open. So if you're interested in submitting a children's book for that, go to blackauthors.matterbookawards.com, and all the information is there to submit your book. And finally, we have some new, we're calling them lit t-shirts. They're specifically focused on literature. And we already have our Black Authors Matter t-shirts, but we have some new ones. And 3 of them we posted. We have another couple we're going to be introducing. So that's our new thing for this year. We have some more merch that you can wear to support African American literature. So after the first interview, Rhonda's going to give us an update on her event. And then we have one book we're giving away tonight. So our first guest is author and speaker Tia McCollors. And I've been connected with Tia for many years on Facebook and otherwise. I was looking at her first book that made the Essence bestseller list, and it made the list in 2005. And I remember that book. It was called A Heart of Devotion. So that was when we had the brick and mortar store, and we actually carried that book in our store. So that was when we had the brick and mortar store. We actually carried that book in our store. So if you have a device around it with the device.
Sure it is. Okay, I think we fixed it.
Okay, because I turned my all my stuff off. I turned it off, and then I turned the volume all the way down so it's on mute on my phone. But anyway, Tia, you're going around in a circle, and we're trying to figure out where you're gonna land. But Tia, unmute your mic and welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Well, thank you. I was like, okay, am I on? Because I couldn't see anything, and it was all wishy-washy, but I'm here now.
Okay, well, can you see us?
I can see you now.
Okay, good. Okay, well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I want to express my condolences again for the loss. You had a family loss. I think it was your aunt that you said.
Yes, thank you so much.
And so when I had originally reached out to you, you were in the midst of that. And I know how a close loved one, taking care of them in the final step that you have to do. It can be all consuming. It can and overwhelming sometimes. So Tia, tell us what you're doing now,
Mhm.
and then tell us how you got started with the writing.
Oh, okay.
Writing
That's a
books,
big question.
writing books.
Okay. Well, what I am doing now, Gwen, is actually revamping. My last actual books were cozy mysteries. And so those were books that I had never written a cozy mystery before, and those came out last year. And
Okay.
so that was very different, having to learn how to write a totally new genre. It was actually a great challenge. And so that was the last book that I wrote that was, that's the most recent book. So what I'm doing now is revamping. I'm going back to my
Out you
backlist
your stuff.
because I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm going back to my backlist because I did get back all the rights to those books. And so now I'm revamping, I'm redoing covers and things like that. And they say, well, the book really never gets old. You just have new people you have to market it to. So that's what I'm in the midst of doing now. And I've looked back at some of the old books. I'm like, you know what, these are pretty good. You write them and you kind of forget how good they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, sometimes you have to pat yourself on the back.
Yes, you do. You do, but there are sometimes I'm like, well, should I leave it or should I change it? Because I know in my first book, A Heart of Devotion, like someone had paged someone, and that was in 2005. I'm like, well, can I leave that they paged them? It's almost like historical fiction when you leave somebody paging somebody.
Do people pay you? Okay, were they paging them on a pager or like at the airport?
No, it was on a
They were
pager,
paging
a
them on a
beeper.
personal page.
They had the
Okay, yeah,
beeper.
yeah, that was back in the day, and
It
that was
was.
really in the 90s more. So
Yeah,
Well, yeah, they
that's
were
one of the
still.
things that I'm doing because I am going to be re-releasing my first book. And in the first book, cell phones were still a pretty new concept. We didn't really have them. I think my characters may have had beepers. I'm taking all of that stuff.
Right.
I can't believe I
Exactly.
remember when I actually had a beeper and I got a beep and I wound up having to pull over and go find a payphone so I can call and see what they wanted. I can't believe
yeah,
Right.
that's what people do now. And I mean back then. And so I was watching something recently where the guy had to use a payphone, and I'm like, do they still even exist? I
right.
If they do exist, I'm not going in the booth. I tell you that much.
I was just in London, and even those booths, those phone booths,
right.
there's no phone in them. They're just there so people can take pictures with them.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I was watching something too where the person didn't have I know what I was watching. I was watching an old video footage of me on CNN FN. I had some old footage on some VHS tapes that I needed to get off, and I took them to this place where I took them and they put them on a thumb drive. And one of them was me on CNN FN, which used to be a network, their financial network, when Kush City first started.
Mm.
And he was talking about the digital divide and how everybody didn't have access to the internet. But with cell phones now, that's been resolved. That's
Right.
phone took care of all of that. But it's
Right.
just how things have changed technologically over the last 20 years. It was a little bit over 20 years ago when I was on that show, and I had to go to New York to do the filming of it.
Mhm. Yes. Well, I didn't answer the other part of your question is how I got involved in
Started with
writing.
books. Mhm.
Yes. Well, actually, I was a journalism major in college. I have a degree in journalism and mass communication. So I have always loved books, and I've actually always loved writing. I remember in high school in particular, I would always enter the writing contests. And I would always win because no one else wanted to do that. I remember I wrote an essay for, do you remember DARE, like the drug program?
Yeah.
DARE, and I think I won like $250, but every time something came up in our high school, I would write it. I'm like, you know what? I'm not too bad at this. So I was a journalism major, and I came out and I worked in public relations for quite a while. And I was always a voracious reader. But just so happened I picked up Angela Benson's book, Awakening Mercy. And I read that book in probably a couple of hours. And whatever was in that book really touched me because I was thinking, oh my gosh, I can do this. Because it was a faith-based book, because I would read, kind of across genres. But I always wanted to write a book that I felt reflected who I was as a woman, and that being, a woman of faith, a Black woman, etc. So I read her book and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I could really write, you know. Um, and so that Angela Benson's book, Awakening Mercy, actually just, sparked that desire even more for my creativity. And I just dove right in. I just really dove right in. And I didn't even plot anything out, I just had a story in my head and I just started writing.
Okay.
So let me think, that was, gosh, it seems so strange to say that was so long ago, but it really was so long ago, like over 20 years. And I had my first 3 chapters of my book, and I actually went to Book Expo America in Los Angeles, California. And I was just walking around meeting different publishing houses, and I met Cynthia Ballinger at Moody Publishers. And when I came back from Book Expo America, she had asked me to send a proposal. I sent that proposal in, and that's how my career got started.
Wow.
You
Now,
met the right people at the right time.
Yes, Angela Benson's still writing.
I haven't communicated with her in quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her, but I don't remember seeing her name on a published book in recent
Recently.
years.
Yeah, she's a professor. I know the last time that we talked, she was teaching, I think in the college arena. So she's a professor, so she just might be, doing her professor thing.
Well, you still have to do a lot of writing as a professor.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you got your big break by going to an event and hooking
Mhm.
up with the right person at their booth and then following up.
Yes. And that's really what happened. That is really what happened. And I think it was time for it to happen. The cards just laid out. And so I was like, okay, look, God has really opened up this door of opportunity. I'm going in.
Amen to that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I think that also you are proof of the term stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because what if you had met all of these people and you didn't have a book in hand, or you weren't well edited, or you just weren't ready to get out there? So you made sure that you were prepared before you went into these arenas.
Yes. Now, you want me to tell you a funny story about that, though. When Cynthia Ballinger contacted me at the time, she didn't call me. She actually sent me a letter asking for the rest of the book, because I'd only submitted the proposal. And I had been, after I submitted the proposal, I had been writing, trying to finish the book and things like that. Again, I said the proposal was only the first 3 chapters. So she sent me a letter, and it was to my P.O. box that was near my job, but I hadn't gone to that P.O. box in like a month. So she called me the day before I was leaving for Thanksgiving break. She called me at my job. And she was like, well, I was just trying to touch base. I hadn't heard from you. I'm like, oh, heard from me about what? She was like, well, we asked for the rest of your book. And I hadn't even finished the book at that point. So I was still getting ready, as she would say. But after that, it's like pedal to the metal. I had a very good friend who had a keen eye for editing. And basically, I took a week off of my job. And like I said, I had already been writing. I took a week off of my job. I would write a chapter. She would edit a chapter. I would write it. We were just passing it. We were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I was almost all the way ready, but not quite.
So
Well,
you
you
were
were
almost
ready
there.
enough. You were ready enough to
I
be
was
able
ready
to
enough.
finish it in
Yeah.
a week. That's
Yes,
that was great. Now you
yes,
are also a contributor to nonfiction projects
yes,
and the Women of Color Devotions and Walking in Grace Daily Devotion.
yes.
Now
And
that's done
go
through
ahead.
guideposts. Is that
Yes, ma'am. Guidepost does the Walking with Grace. It used to be Daily Guidepost, and 2 years
okay?
ago they changed the name to Walking with Grace. So That's Daily Guidepost. But then separately is Women of Color. That's a separate publication and a separate
Okay.
company.
Okay. Now, how often, what kind of requirement as far as writing volume? Is that once a year, once a quarter? How is that?
Well, for the Daily Guidepost, this is my 5th year contributing. And you typically write 2 years ahead of time. So the devotions that I have due actually next month are for 2026. Yes. So you write 2 years ahead of time for Guideposts. They are very on top top of their production schedule. You're always 2 years ahead of time.
Wow.
Yes. And then so that's every year. And then for Women of Color, I wrote kind of for a season. Because I had an author friend, Stephanie Perry Moore, who was over those projects for a while. So I wrote for the winter edition, for the summer edition, for the spring edition. And so those are kind of green books. They're, good all year round. So I had a season I actually did, 3 seasons for that. So whenever she calls me back, I'll be ready for the next season. But the daily, I always say Daily Guidepost because that's where it started. Walking with Grace, like I said, that's every year.
I love the Guideposts.
Yeah,
Yes, they have. It's a high readership, and the readers are very faithful. I can always tell when one of my devotions it's the day for one of my devotions because I'll get tons of emails through Facebook from readers who say, I loved your devotion. Thank you. It blessed my heart. They're really dedicated readers. That's the great thing about them.
Do you know what the circulation is for it? And is it digital or print or both?
It's print. And actually today I was reading and they said it reaches up to 1 million people. So it's one of their most popular because they've been doing it for years. Even when
Years,
readers reach out,
decades.
even when readers reach out, some of them have said, well, I started reading this with my mother, I started reading this with my grandmother. I mean, this is a generational ministry outreach, but they are widespread, very widespread.
Hmm. So now the cozy mysteries that you wrote, were they full novels or were they for to include it in Guideposts or
Yes,
a combination?
Yeah, I was
they were
really
full
interested in
novels.
it as well. Because I'm wondering, I guess what's the biggest difference between a cozy mystery and a regular mystery?
Well, with cozy mystery, there's no blood.
You know, we had somebody on the show. It might have been a year ago now, where
Yeah,
that
I
cozy
remember they
mystery
mentioned that.
topic came up. It might have been Vanessa Riley, or because I think she does some cozy mysteries. But somebody said that there's a dog or a pet in.
The cozy mysteries are sweet hometown that you're usually missing something like someone like for my mystery across to bear, someone has stolen the cross out of the hospital. It's always something that's very light. And like I said, there's no blood. Just think small town. So with my 2 novels, my cozy mystery novels, it's actually a set of books. It used to be called Miracles and Mysteries at Mercy Hospital. And I was contacted by Guideposts to write this because there were 8 authors who were writing this series. So I came in as one of the authors, and the book is about 4 women. And one of those women is an African American woman named Shirley. And so I came in to write the point of view from Shirley. Now, mind you, all the people, because I had books number 8 and 19, no, books number 9 and 19. So they had already started the stories. So Shirley's book was the 9th book, but it was from her point of view. So I had to kind of pick up on the personality they had already given Shirley, but then my book was able to amplify her voice more. So that, like, they have a subscription to those books, like the Cozy Mystery series, because people like to buy the whole series, or they can be standalone books. So that's how I got started with them. Like I said, I had never written cozy mystery before, ever. So I cried my way through the first one.
That's like
But
that series that used to be on TV. What was the name of it?
Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
murder. She wrote. Those are
I guess
Yeah.
that's a cozy mystery
things.
because there was no bloodshed.
Right.
Right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly
How
what
do
it
you
is.
find your ideas for your cozy mystery books or stories, I should say?
Well, for those first two, I just had to really dig deep just to try to think of something they hadn't already done. And then also, it's so funny because my friend Rhonda McKnight, I would call him like, girl, what am I going to do? I have never written a cozy mystery before ever. And then she was like, well, you should just watch some of the things on television. So I temporarily subscribed to Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. I think it was. I think that's the channel. Just to
Okay.
kind of get your, yeah, just to kind of get your, your wheels turning.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Good
yeah,
idea.
and things like that. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's where those mysteries came from.
That's a great idea because it at least puts you into the mindset, so the ideas can start to flow.
Yeah, yes. And so also there was I can't remember the name of the book right now, but it was a book on Amazon and it was How to Write Cozy Mysteries. And so, as with every genre, there's always a formula.
Yes.
And so once you kind of learn that formula, you know what kind of story can fit. It's almost like the stories are almost the same, but you just kind of
Plots,
change
the
the
plots are
characters and
similar.
yes, the plots are very similar. But it's like I said, I cried my way through the first one, but by the second one, I was doing pretty good.
Well,
Tony Bonita said the cozy mysteries are good reads. And
Yes.
she said, hello, Tia. I don't know. Do
Now,
you know
who said that?
Tony
Tony
Bonita?
Bonita.
Hey, Miss Tony.
Sorry.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Mama Tony. That's what I
Yeah,
Yeah.
call
Mama Tony.
her.
She said,
Well, I just put the link to your books in the chat for Friday Night Love ebook.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Can you tell us? I don't remember if you told us exactly about that story.
Okay, Friday Night Love is the first book in the Days of Grace series. And it is a story of Zinja and Roman Maxwell. Now, one thing that was a deal breaker for Zinja was infidelity. She was a widow. She'd already lost a husband, so this is her second marriage. But she'd always said, if a man cheats on me or if my husband cheats on me, I'm out the door. Well, your heart can say one thing and your mouth can say another.
Of course.
So, yes, so this is the story of Roman and Zinja, and they are the redemption of their marriage, I should say.
okay. Now, Cynthia Cobb, do you know her personally?
Cynthia
She
Cobb.
said, Tia is extremely powerful with words that
Oh yeah, I
inspire
know Miss
emotion.
Cynthia.
She had the pleasure of working with attorney Gerard Truesdale, who provides invaluable expertise. So Cynthia knows you. Sounds like she knows you personally.
I know Cynthia Cobb. She said I had the pleasure of working with who?
Attorney Gerard Truesdale,
Oh gosh.
and to help me write astounding stories. So anyway, this sounds
Well,
like.
thank you.
And Bonita Francine says she watches Murder, She Wrote every morning.
It's still on rotation.
Yeah, there's
It
some
is.
shows that even if you've seen the episodes multiple times,
You can
Law
keep
and Order
watching
is that show for me.
And Golden Girls.
The original Law and Order. So I watch it. If I've seen certain episodes, I'll watch them. I don't care if I've seen them 10 times. I'll still watch it if it was a good one. So
That's right. That's right.
And it was good. It was a good family show. Your older relatives like to watch it, and you wound up sitting there watching it with them. That's how all of us kids got hooked on watching All My Children and Young.
Right. Right.
yeah,
Guiding Light. That was my show. Guiding
Right.
Light was my
I
show.
lie. Okay, I never watched that one. I haven't watched any of them in many years, but I did used to watch All My Children. That one and Young and the Restless and One Life to Live. Those were the three that went out years ago when I was
And Young
watching.
and the Restless is the only soap opera that's still on, I think.
Okay.
Unless-
All My Children's not on there? Did that one go off? Did Suzanne
I
too
don't know.
ever win an Emmy? Because I know for years she was
I don't know. She tried. I think she did. I actually think she
I think she
did.
I
finally
think she
won one.
finally won, like after 25 years, like
Right.
of
25 years plus.
playing the same role. You know, that's a long time to wait. But good things come to those who wait.
That's
So,
right.
I have one other question to ask you. You had a Friday Night Love, and you talked about your devotionals, but
Mhm.
you also speak at women's conferences. That was what I
Yes, and
you about. And so, when you speak, what's your focus of your time?
well, my focus is really encouraging women to embrace their true calling, whatever that may be, and whatever season that may be. And also, I'm in this season now where I had to renew my own hope because my life had become so ordinary. And I know that sounds very strange, but it had become so ordinary. Like, you get caught up in just the rut of doing the same thing every day. And what really has spurred me to start thinking beyond just my normal everyday things. I lost my mom in 2022. And
Mm.
then, yeah, and then it's kind of like, wow. I mean, not that you never think that your time on earth is forever, but I remember when my mom was at the end of her life, she was talking about the things that she wished that she would have done. And that was just like, why are you waiting? You know what I'm saying? I'm asking myself, why are you waiting? You can come up with an excuse every day or every why I can't do this, I can't do that. So I kind of turned on Tia 2.0. My husband's like, oh, you're doing it? Oh, you're going here? I'm doing all of it. I'm doing all the things because you realize
Right.
how
All the things.
life is such a vapor. You know what I'm saying? It's here one day and it's
Yeah,
gone another. And even with my aunt, her passing, and that was my mom's sister. Her passing was very quick and unexpected. Like we didn't see it coming, you know.
Yeah.
And she got sick on Christmas, actually. And it was right after she had cooked the cake, which is like her thing is baking. Like everyone knows her for her baking. She had started a cake and then she went to lay down and then started having some issues and she was gone, a few hours later. That shook me to the core, So right now I'm finding my way again because grief is like this.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
makes you think about some things, and the older you get, your bucket list, you have less time to complete it, to check the things off.
Right.
You don't have, so you need to get on it.
Right. Right.
Whatever was on it, you need
Yes.
to-
Yes. And
you
so
can't keep waiting.
that's right. So if I can help a woman who to navigate those ups and downs of life, to get her joy back, to find her purpose and her passion back, that's what I'm here for.
Amen to that.
Well,
Amen to that.
well, Tia, let people know how they can reach out to you via social media or your website or so forth. How is it best to reach you?
Oh, you can probably find me. I know I'm gonna sound so old when I say this, but I'm on Facebook more than anything. I'm on
This
Facebook
is
more. My
where we
kids are like,
are.
well, look, we're all together. My kids are like, Mom, you never on your IG. I'm like, but I do go on there sometimes. So you can reach out to me on IG. It's T McCollors, at T McCollors. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/fans of Tia. So that's the quickest way you can get to me. And my website is tiamccolors.com. And because McCollors is such a crazy name, I always tell my husband that. You can also go to tiawrites.com.
Okay, WRITES.
Yes, Tia Rice.
I'm
Yes, ma'am.
putting things in the chat right now.
Okay.
Oh, Bonita said she lost her mom in 2022. Yeah, losing moms, or we talked about that last week. I lost mine in 2002, so but
Mm-hmm.
the void is never
Still
filled.
fresh. That's right. It really
Mama
isn't.
is your mama. There's no other. There's no another.
Right. There's none other.
So anyway, Tia, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Good to finally meet you virtually. And
Yeah.
maybe I'll run into you face to face one of these days when we're both trying to check off our bucket list, we might end up.
That's right.
As long as it doesn't involve jumping out of airplanes or bungee.
No, that definitely won't
No,
be.
ma'am. Well, you're right. You won't see me there either. Maybe somewhere on the beach, but that's
There we
about
go.
it.
We can do
Yeah,
that.
travel is involved, but I want to stay inside the plane. So, you know,
Right.
so
Inside the plane.
yeah, take care and good luck and much success. Continued success with what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. Have a
Okay.
good night.
Great one. God bless you.
God bless.
Okay, so that was Tia McCollors, and we are going to be, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be giving away one book. So I'm going to let you know the book we're giving away, and then we'll do the trivia after this next interview. But also, Rhonda is going to just give us an update on her upcoming event. So this is the book we're giving away. Before I let go, the hardcover by Kennedy Ryan. So, Rhonda, you want to give us an update on your literary weekend?
Yes. So the Black History Month Literary Weekend, I'm so excited about it. We passed out some flyers this weekend at the Crew of Pyros Ball. So we're looking forward
That
to
looks amazing. The pictures of it.
Oh my goodness, that
Oh.
ball was even, I already knew it was a great ball, but I mean this year it was just crazy. I don't know if you could tell from the pictures, but there were roses all over the room.
Okay, no, I couldn't tell that, but it looked
Yeah.
the color scheme looked amazing.
Yes, because that color is red anyway, so there were centerpieces of real red roses on every table.
Okay.
Yeah, and there were also backdrops of roses. So there was that. It was live entertainment. It was beautiful. So I really enjoyed that. If you're in the DC area, you need to come next year. Just call me so I can get your ticket. But but for the Black History Month weekend, believe it or not, the owners of PJ's Coffee House, which is where the first event is going to be, they were at the table right next to me at the ball. So they're really excited. They're saying, make sure you send us the flyer. We're going to put it on our social media. So they're super excited about us coming out and doing the Meet the Authors event, which is going to be on the 22nd. So it's Coffee with an Author on the 22nd. On the 23rd is the Meet the Authors event at Barnes and Noble, which is also in Bowie, Maryland. And then on the 24th is the Ivory and Cream Affair Jazz Brunch, which is going to be in Oxon Hill at the Harborside Hotel. Now, at the brunch, we're going to have live music. We're going to have an exclusive fashion show. Of course, we're going to be meeting the authors. We're going to have a local celebrity as our MC. It's just going to be amazing. I really hope you guys can make it. If you're in the area, I think actually a couple of people who watch the show regularly were at the event last year, but this year is going to just blow last year totally out of the water. We're so excited about it. So if you're in the DC area, or if you're close to the DC area, come on in. I actually had 2 people buy VIP tickets, and they're coming all the way in from Delaware. So if you're in the area, just come on in, have a good time, meet the authors. We have authors coming from so many different parts of the country. We're going to be sponsored by She Publishing, as well as Mr. Crave's Cookies. If you've not tasted Mr. Crave's Cookies yet, we got to make sure you taste Mr. Crave's Cookies. You didn't try his cookies, did you?
I have never eaten his cookies. I wanted to get some. I need to get them shipped to me.
Oh, we're gonna have to make sure that happens. You will be getting some cookies very soon.
Okay, well, I can order them if I need to do that. Can I do that?
You supported you.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe in supporting financially too. So we're going to bring on our next guest now. It's Reverend Corey Brown. And he has a book about, and it's a brand new book. Actually, it's not out yet, but it's a primer of biblical rhetoric from an Afrocentric standpoint. It's Ubuntu. I think I said it right, but if I didn't, Reverend Brown, correct me. And I'm excited to hear exactly what you talk about in your book. And he's a retired veteran. So Rhonda is a veteran as well, retired. And he has a church called Hush Harbor Ministry. And last week we had a guest that had the Hush Harbor Literary Club. So it's like hearing it right back to back is interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway, Reverend Brown, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
So
you.
I see your book cover behind you, and
Mhm.
first of all, tell us what the meaning of the word Ubuntu is, and what language or dialect or tribal culture is from, and
Okay.
how you made that the center of a book about biblical rhetoric.
Okay. Yeah, this is my first book, and so Ubuntu. I love to use the term Ubuntu, but because Ubuntu is a South African term, it's more of a philosophical term. It's not necessarily a religious term, but Bishop Desmond Tutu, made the term popular worldwide, and the term is about community, and it essentially it means I am because you are and you are because I am. That means that we exist because of each other, not in spite of each other. And so that's the beauty of Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is something that we as Western Christian people specifically don't embrace as we should. Western Christianity is more about the individual salvation. You know, I got my Jesus, I got my salvation, I got, so it's a lot less here in the West about the community than it is over in places like Africa, where actually the center of gravity of Christianity now is in Africa. And so we claim that we're sending missionaries to Africa, but Africa can actually send missionaries to America.
Oh, I like that. And I think that we need to start looking at it in that way. And, what you're saying actually reminds me of a TikTok video I was actually watching earlier. And it said CNN looking for places in Africa to film. And so the first thing they showed was a beautiful mansion. And the photographer was about to take the picture, and the producer's like, no, not that, not that. And so they moved on to another section. And then you see all of these beautiful women dressed in beautiful clothing. And so the photographer's about to take the picture. He tells, no, not that, not that. And so they moved to another section, and you see a bunch of homeless Africans who are eating, and they're all sitting on the ground. And he's like, yes, take that picture, because that's the narrative that we want to push about Africa. And so many people grew up thinking that that was the only way that Africa looked. And we're just starting to learn that it's a beautiful country, it's a rich country, and much of our culture comes from there. And I'm really glad that we're starting to change that narrative.
Right. And the other part of the subtitle itself, the primer, I chose that because I wanted to be basic. I wanted to be accessible to the layperson. It's not just written, even though I finished seminary, I got my master's of divinity, but I wanted to write something that will be accessible to the layperson. Something that to help us to understand that when we read the Bible, that we read the Bible through a certain lens, that we read the Bible through eyes. Like, for example, I read the Bible differently as a Black man as you all do as a Black woman. And there's even more distinction. You can break down more distinction as you go beyond that, because you may read the Bible as a Black woman in the South differently than a Black woman in the Northeast may read the Bible, just because of the way we were raised. And I talk about that in the book. That's our social location, everything that affects who we are and why we read things the way that we do.
I guess that's right. I never thought about our background can often affect the way that we read the Bible. I mean, I understand sometimes it affects the way that we see the world, But I don't know, sometimes I think that as Christians, we sometimes think we have a linear view and we're thinking that everybody's reading the Bible the same, and they're not. It really depends on how we grew up and what our background was, and it affects our understanding of the Bible.
Yeah. Prime example I talk about in the book with Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. We know Abraham and Sarah, God promised them that they would be fruitful and multiply and have as many, they would have nations and have as many children as the sand on the beach and the stars in the sky. And many people don't realize, and I learned this in seminary, that we read that story differently in different contexts. My fellow white seminarians read that as Hagar, especially in the part where Hagar was impregnated by Abraham, read that as Hagar being insubordinate to Abraham when Sarah was saying something about kicking her out the house or kicking her off away from the village. And so, but we in the Black context and a Black woman might read that story and may empathize more with Hagar and her plight and, how she, was made a victim in this case. She wasn't necessarily a part of the plan for them to do what they did, despite what God had already told them.
Right.
Well, that's kind of a reflection or a metaphor or whatever you want to call it for slavery in terms of the relationship between, husband and wife, and then a servant who ends up having children that, well, in the slave context, they were not recognized as from the master, but and that might be that, I'm sure that has a lot to do with just the different interpretation of it.
Right. Yeah. And then the Afro diaspora part, I picked that instead of I wanted a term that was more inclusive and more worldly, more global. And so African American just tends to be focused on the people that are here in North America, the Black people that live in North America. Whereas I wanted to reach abroad to the African diaspora, to the African people that are spread all around the world, that are in South America, that are in Central America, that are in Africa. And so I wanted the book to be accessible to them as well.
Now, have you traveled a lot?
I traveled in the military, yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that part. That's a role. Because Rhonda talks about all the places she's been. So, stationed and so forth. And after 20 years, you get to go to a lot of different places.
I missed your question if you asked the question. Could you ask that again?
Well, no, I asked if you had traveled, and you said when you were in the military.
Yeah, you said you had traveled in the military. You said you traveled in the military. So had you done a lot of traveling outside of the military?
No, not really. I just retired from the military back in 2012, and I went in at the age of 17. So a lot of my traveling was military based. And I enjoyed time I actually was able to spend in the Middle East. And I did get to see another side of Christianity that I'd never seen before. And it was much more open. It wasn't as rigid and dogmatic as the Christianity that we have today in the West here.
So what is your goal for your book? For the people that you reach with your message?
Yeah, my goal for the book is not so much to just tell people things. I want it to be more of a conversation starter. I wanted to have us start to have conversations about our different theologies. And three theologies I talk about in particular, I talk about Black liberation theology, womanist theology, and Black queer theology. And so there are three subsets of people among the African diaspora that read the Bible differently. And all three cases, the theologies are about reading against the text reading against the way we have learned to read the text. Right now, a lot of us read the text from a white evangelical Eurocentric standpoint because that's what we were taught. That's how we were taught. That long before we learned how to read, the enslavers would have preachers come and they would teach the Bible. And so the Bible as we understand it, as all the translations and interpretations, still tend to be a more Eurocentric based understanding. Even if it's in a Black church, there are very, very few Black churches that will venture out and read the Bible with the intent of being just pro-Black as you're reading the Bible, questioning in the Bible, questioning things in the Bible without being told that you're questioning God. We have to understand that questioning the Bible is not the same thing as questioning God. The Bible is a book, and the Bible is a book that was divinely inspired by God, but it is not God. It is not one of the Trinity. The Trinity is God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit. And so many times, I remember growing up, you better not put that Bible on the floor or put something on top of that Bible in the living room. I mean, we just treat the Bible like it's just this sacred piece of writing. And I tell people all the time, I said, in matter of fact, in the book, I said, the Bible is not sacred in and of itself. What makes the Bible sacred is what it leads you to do when you read it. There are so many people that know the Bible backwards and forwards, but if it doesn't move them to action, there's nothing sacred about the interaction that you have with the Bible during that time.
Well, that's interesting. Now, your Hush Harbor ministry is a hybrid church plant, and so I'm guessing that it's non-denominational, but I don't want to characterize it. I will let you characterize it or tell us what your mission is and what you teach at your ministry. Like, what do you focus on in terms of your message?
Yeah, so at Hush Harbor, the focus is teaching us to appreciate scripture, teaching us to appreciate our faith from an Afrocentric standpoint, because that is who we are as a people. Teaching us that we are a part of the Imago Dei. We are a part of the image of God, that we are blessed and a part of that. So it's trying to help reinforce teachings that are positive and communal. When I talked earlier, I talked about Christianity, Western Christianity not being as communal as it was when it first started. First century church, it was very communal. That people pooled together resources and helped each other. People met in their homes, in their houses, and now it's all these churches are in competition. It's amazing. You can go in some of these towns and cities, and within a 2-block radius, you got 3 or 4 churches, and they don't talk to each other, they don't communicate with each other, they don't fellowship with each other. And so my goal is to help. I want to be able to help pastors also be able to embrace community among the other churches. So I'm not trying to plant just another church. I want something that will help pastors, something that will also provide seminary level training to lay persons, being able to teach people about how when we read the Bible text, how it's contextualized for a certain group of people in a certain region of the world at a certain time, and how when we read it, we are actually decontextualizing it and then recontextualizing it for our own purposes. And so helping people to understand, as we're reading the Bible, there's a process that is going on that we have to be cognizant of and be aware of, that we are reading into the Bible. And so we have to be careful that our interpretations and translations aren't about, casting others aside.
Well, for so long, and I'm a PK, by the way, so a lot of what and my father was, and he's passed, but he did a lot of study. He was not, he did what people used to call hooping at the end of his message.
Yeah.
He spent hours in study. He studied at the office, the church office, and he had a study at home where he would study when to prepare for his messages on Sunday. And that's what he did from when he first became a minister. That's one of my earliest memories. The first house we had when I was a little girl, the he didn't have a separate room then. He just had a desk in like a corner of the living area that he would use to prepare for his messages. But a lot of for years and for decades, centuries, we were basically taught we were not really part of God's plan. We weren't in the Bible. It's just it was a book of white people, and we weren't in there. I mean, more or less, or except for the curse, you know, that was the only that was the only time that we really were mentioned with
Okay.
Henry being cursed. And that
For
wasn't
the people who mention that
incorrect.
curse.
Yeah, it's
It-
incorrectly interpreted. Well, just not told factually, but
No, that's what I'm saying. They like to tell it the way they like to tell it.
right.
Right.
But that was for so many years, and some of it because we couldn't really read, you know, and we didn't get to the point where we could really read and study and for ourselves until, you know, a few decades ago. Um, so do you find that you get pushback or people who aren't ready for what you're teaching? Let me say it like that.
Yes. And it, and it is a scary thing because many times when the things that I'm teaching uh, seem to be chipping away at the foundation that many people have based their belief on, their belief system. And so that is a scary thing. But the part is the part that I try to do is I try to assure people that, there is hope. There is something out there that we can rebuild a solid foundational. And so when I talk about things like Black queer theology, they'll instantly start thinking of Leviticus and Romans, and they're like, oh, that's a sin. How could there be such a thing? And so to say that is um, to help people to understand what the Bible really says. Because if you read it in the original languages, many of the things that we say the Bible says are not really what the Bible says. And especially as we translate to English, because English is a very young language. And so the biblical languages, they aren't even used now. The people don't speak Hebrew and Greek. The Hebrew and Greek that they spoke in the Bible is not even what Hebrew and Greek that people speak now. And so there's a lot of nuances and a lot of things about learning about the Bible that people really need to accept as a continuous learning experience. If we read the Bible, if we read a scripture, and that scripture, we take that scripture and we take the meaning of that scripture the same as when we read it 10 years ago as we do today, then we are not showing any spiritual growth. That we should be constantly growing. When we're reading scripture, we should read with anticipation that I'm going to learn something different from that scripture. When we read the 23rd Psalm, as we're reading the 23rd Psalm, we continue until the day we die. We should read that scripture and just feel that there's something nuanced. There's something that God is trying to tell us within that scripture that we hadn't heard before. So we need to learn to approach scripture with an open mind, open and understanding, to look for more meaning and more understanding, because just as we try and push people in the margins or oppress people or marginalize people, the same thing was done to us. And so we have to try to avoid doing that, because that is not what it's all about. The two greatest commandments Jesus tells us are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. And they are both equal in priority. And so whatever we do, if it's not loving God and loving our neighbor as we love ourselves, then it's not in accordance with the word. We can take the word and dissect it and look at all the scripture passages, but the litmus test, the pure test for whether something is right or wrong in my mind's eye, in my spiritual eye, is whether or not it falls in the category of loving the Lord God and loving your neighbor as you love yourself.
Well,
Preaching a
this
sermon.
definitely is a start for it, but there is such a thing as fruit too. So we have to look at fruit when we look at things that people do or say, or when they are making their position, then the fruit does speak too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
So I did want to ask one more question before you go, and it left my mind. It was right there, and then it left. So Rhonda, did you have something you wanted to say? It may come back.
No, you were talking about the fruit. I'm like, yeah, the fruit does speak, but I feel like what Reverend Brown was saying connects with the fruit, because if you are living a life where you are loving, you're going to show that fruit. I mean, you don't have to tell people that you're doing it because it's going to show.
Oh, well, that's for sure. That is definitely for sure. Oh, I wanted to ask you, have you seen these commercials? And this is sort of off topic, but not really. There's some commercials for a product or an app called Hallow, where it's supposed to read scripture to you or make you feel better. It's supposed to be some kind of spiritual app. And the featured actor in the commercial is someone that they're making to look like what the European version of Jesus looks like. So he pops up in people's bedrooms, sometimes in their beds, to tell them they need to use this Hallow app. But they have him looking like not the blonde-haired version, but still the European version of Jesus. And I'm like, if you haven't seen it, okay, when you watch something and it comes on, then you'll say that's what Gwen was talking about.
It sounds kind of creepy. I don't want
to. It is creepy. So it just reinforces that whole idea of the European Jesus, that it's just so offensive to me. If either Jesus doesn't look like anybody, or he looks like the people looked in the region at that time, which was not European. So let's be factual. If nothing else, let's be factually correct. So
right.
and it takes a while when you're taught one way. You're brought up with one vision, and my upbringing, it was just part of the whole zeitgeist of where everything was at that time. But there was no push for the European Jesus, but it was all around. You know what I mean? It was everywhere. It was on church fans. We didn't have it in our stained glass windows, but a lot of churches did. We didn't have any images of Jesus. But anyway, we have a lot to do to reprogram or just reset. Just hit the reset so people can be open to learning something. And you're right, the Bible is a living document. It's alive. So we should always be gaining something when we read it.
Yeah. And again, it's the book is meant to be a conversation starter that start us having these new conversations as we go into the 21st century. We can't go into the 21st century with a 17th or 18th century mindset as we're reading the Bible, because it's not going to work for us. It's not going to be relevant. It's not going to be timely. And so that's I think the important part of what I would like, or important goal I would like for the book to have.
Okay. Well, the book comes out soon. It's not even really technically out yet.
Um,
You had a pub date,
yeah,
but you have the release date. So the release date is February 12th. Is that right?
Yeah, the release date is on the 12th, but the pub date was in January, right?
Did you hear us, Reverend Brown?
yeah, yeah. So it's February 11th, I think, is the date looks like that Amazon has for it. So it'll be available on Kindle. It'll be available on paperback. It's only 76 pages, a short read, and I really want people to read it and start talking about it. And I just recorded the audio for it, so I wanted to be in audio format, and that should be coming out as well shortly. And I just shared in the chat. You can find more information on the site or on the book on Corey, Corey-Brown, BROWN.com. And that you go to that site, it'll take you to the Amazon site to be able to order the book. And it shows upcoming book I'm working on. I'm actually working on my fiction book now. That'll be my next project.
Oh, okay. That's two totally different projects. So, because I write nonfiction and fiction. It's different. So that good luck and much success. Your creative juices have to flow on.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, so we are going to give away our book, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And this is the actual book, it's a hardcover. So the trivia for this book is the author is a wife and mother. Author Kennedy Ryan is a wife and mother of either a daughter or a son. So all you have to do is tell us, does Kennedy have a daughter or does she have a son? And you get the book. So that's a different kind of trivia. So anyway, our next guest, we have been having guests on recently that have upcoming book events. And we like to have coordinators of other events come on. The National Black Book Festival, of course, sponsors the show, and our event is in October. But there are a lot of events that go on throughout the year. Not everybody's going to come to Houston to our event. And so we want you to support the other events that are going on in other parts of the country. So tonight we have Monica Brite, who is the director or coordinator or founder or whatever of the San Antonio African American Book Festival. So welcome, Monica, to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, Gwen. I am glad to be here.
Well, we are glad to.
Yeah, and
Hi, Dr. Lawson.
Hello.
yeah, your event is coming up soon. So what's the date for your event?
It is Saturday, February 24th. It is the last Saturday of Black History Month every year.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the last
This
Saturday.
is why I can't make it to San Antonio.
Rhonda has an event that same weekend in the DMV.
Oh man.
That's okay though. That's okay.
Yeah, because not
everybody can't make it to one place. You know, we have to give people options and choices.
Yes.
You know, maybe somebody in Texas can't make it all the way up here to the DMV, so they can swing right over to San Antonio. Maybe folks in the DMV can't make it down to San Antonio, so they can swing over to me.
Yes, we had an author from DMV last year, and I cannot remember which author it was. I'm so sorry, but yes, I was really excited to see authors from different states coming all the way down to San Antonio.
So what is your theme of your event, or what is your event structure? How is it set up?
So the official theme is a community that reads together, succeeds together. Okay. The somewhat unofficial theme is Unapologetically Yours. This book festival is absolutely for African American authors to share their narratives with different readers, different levels of readers, people who may just be thinking about reading or people who read as a hobby. So my goal is to promote as many African American authors as possible.
Wonderful.
Now, did you tell me that you had come to the National Black Book Festival?
Yes,
Mention
Gwen.
me that?
When
Okay.
I walked in that venue, because I've seen the videos, I've seen the pictures, but it's different when you are there in person. I walked in and I just had to stop and catch my breath. I had tears in my eyes just to see that many Black people in one place to promote Black literacy. Like, it was really overwhelming. I just had to just collect myself. I was like, come on, Monica, don't cry, don't cry. Don't let these folks see you walk in here and start crying. But it was amazing, amazing.
Yeah, well, and people do say that when they walk in, they say, "Oh my God," it's because a lot of people just don't realize how many Black people are writing books.
Yes.
Only a handful, the handful that they hear about, they have no idea of the magnitude. And we normally get 120. It varies. You know, we have to cut it off. That's our challenge is we sell out by
Yes.
early August because we just can't take any more people. So we
That's
110 in there.
That's
if
kind of
we
where
had
I'm at this year.
Oh, well, that's great. That's great.
And I'm so excited that so many authors submitted their application to participate. San Antonio is probably not one of those cities you think of when you think about Black people in Texas.
Right.
You think
That's
Houston,
true.
you think, the Dallas-Fort
Yeah.
Worth area. Very few people think about San Antonio. We're a pretty small percentage of the population here. I think we're maybe 7-8%. And it's been that way for decades,
I was born in San Antonio.
What?
I
Really?
was born at Fort Sam Houston. My dad was in the
Oh.
Fun fact,
They
my
didn't stay
sister
there.
was born in San Antonio, and my
Mhm.
daughter was born in Killeen.
San Antonio's in the house today.
Yeah. My parents didn't stay in a long time. I think I was 2 months old when they left. But
Yeah.
then I ended up back in Texas, which was not on my radar,
Really?
originally. I had no thoughts or plans to. Texas was not on my list of places to go. But, I tell people I got here by following a food. And I ended up staying and meeting my real husband. I don't know if
Well,
I
there
ever
we
told
go.
you, but
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
that's how
I
I
could
got here.
probably sell my house and move to Texas, and then have a nice little nest egg.
You would.
Yes.
It's not as affordable. It's gone up, but everywhere has gone up.
I don't think it's as bad as it is here.
So, oh no, it's not.
Oh, no, it's
No.
not.
It's still, you can get something nice, something new for a reasonable price. I mean,
Yes, you
compared
can.
to other places. And we don't have income tax. We don't have a state income tax.
Yeah.
So people, they get more take home pay. Even if they get paid less, it goes further. So,
Yeah.
Texas has more Black people than any other state. Did you know that?
Yep. I was just about, I know. Yes. I brag
know-
about that all the time because people think it's, Atlanta or
Yeah, they
Mississippi or
do.
Louisiana.
Or New York. No,
Texas
no.
has
It's
the
Texas.
largest number of Black people in all of America.
That's right. It's in Texas. So,
Yep.
Texas is where it's at. And
Yes, it is.
if you want to be in around people, like busy in the city, you have that option. But if you want to be out in the woods, you got lots of places that you can be in the state. You can have whatever environment you want.
You sure can.
That's what I mean. And the weather's pretty good, although Texas is big, so we got weather all the different
Yes.
the weather patterns because the state's so big. But here we have mild winters in Houston, but our summers are brutal.
Oh yes, I lived in Houston for a while. That humidity is something else.
You walk outside and you start sweating within 1 or 2 minutes. So that's why we go straight to the car with the air. We stay in AC. It's perpetual.
Yes.
So now in San Antonio, how are you received? How do you promote your event?
Mostly social media. Of course, that's big right now. So you're able to reach a larger audience using social media, people that you know, and then the people they know, and the people that they know that they know. So that's one big way. We do get quite a bit of media attention because, of course, it's a Black History Month event. Even though San Antonio's Black population is smaller than, say, Houston or the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I like to say we're small but mighty. A lot of people don't know that San Antonio was one of the first major cities to desegregate their lunch counters.
Really?
Yes, a lot of firsts happened in San Antonio because, you know, we kind of bout it down here. You're not going to play with our rights. We celebrate Black History Month very heavily, Juneteenth very heavily. We have a very strong and thriving Black community. A lot is through word of mouth. Okay. Because the population is so small, because also San Antonio is still one of the most racially segregated cities as far as where people live. So, for instance, the book festival is held on the east side of San Antonio. The largest percentage of Black people in the city live east and northeast. So we tend to all know each other. So it helps when you're trying to spread the word about something because people are so interconnected, different organizations, you know, different schools, things like that. So that really does help. Another thing that really gets the word out is that the San Antonio African American Book Festival was mostly partly created as a way to bring attention to G.W. Carver Branch Library in San Antonio. In fact, the book festival is held right next door in the community center because not only is it a library, we like to think of it as a community center. You go to Carver Library on Saturday and you will see, I call it who's who in Black San Antonio. You will see, you know, our council person, you will see our county commissioner, you'll see members of all the organizations that are making progress in the city, from younger in the 20s to people 70s and 80s, you know, everybody who's pretty much doing something in Black San Antonio at some point is going to come to Carver Library. So by bringing attention to this historic library, it also kind of promotes Black literacy. You know, it's very family oriented. Bring your kids, they have story time. They have, you know, arts and crafts for the kids, just all types of things, a teen center. So it's a way to bring the community into the library.
I like that. I like that.
As a means to promote literacy, because that's really important in the Black community. We are undereducated, and that causes a lot of times just a curse as far as generational wealth goes, because that definitely has a direct effect on your success, on your salary, on your health, on your longevity. So many different factors are so much involved with literacy that if you can't read and comprehend well, it's really going to affect your whole life, your actual quality of life.
Are you a native of San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am, born and raised.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to ask, do you know, I'm not familiar, I'm not sure the name of the church, but it was a Reverend Rector.
I know that name. I went to school with one of his grandchildren. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
sure what church it is. San Antonio.
Small area.
Was it
San
Annie?
Antonio is a big city, but Black San Antonio is a small
It's
town.
not, right. I understand what you're saying too.
Uh-huh.
That's why I asked. I know how that
Yes, he's very well known. I do know that.
he passed away, I want to say
Mhm.
20 years ago. But that was my dad's. My dad got called to preach in San Antonio.
Mhm.
Evan Rector was his mentor.
Somebody's probably going to inbox me soon. Reverend Rector is from such and such church. You were supposed to know that. Like, I'm
I've
sorry.
never been to the church, but
Mhm.
he came to our church and preached several times. I grew up
Mhm.
in Virginia, so he used to come there. And
Mhm.
I think his son took it over, but he
Mhm.
had a son in his later years. So I think his son is still pastoring there, but I'm not sure because that's happened. I just wondered. But what is the numbers of Black people in San Antonio?
So San Antonio's population, I think now is about 1.5 million. We're less than 10%.
Okay.
Now I know the Black population has grown, so let's say it's about 10%. So that's just 150,000 people,
Okay.
you know.
Right.
And San Antonio's history, our Black history is so strong for just a small population of Black people. For example, you mentioned Fort Sam Houston. Well, Carver Library was the original Carver Library before it was under the city, before the city let Black people check out books. That library was actually built by soldiers who were stationed at Fort Sam.
Wow.
And the
what
Black
year it
community.
was? You know
Excuse
what?
me?
You know what year?
And it was in the 1920s.
Oh, okay. So that was.
It was ours before it was a city library. It was our library.
Oh.
A major Black institution in San Antonio is the Carver Community Center, and the auditorium where they have a lot of shows and stuff, and you can still see the sign. It was originally the Carver Auditorium and Library. And
Okay.
one thing I love about my people is we always do the most with the least. How do you have a library and an auditorium in the same room at the same time? We make it happen every time. You know, it started out as a reading room.
Okay.
You know, so that was back in the 20s, and we built that ourselves because the Black community wanted everyone to be able to read and check out books and have access to Black literature, because we couldn't get it anywhere else. And
that's what's amazing about us, though, because
yes,
we, the narrative that you're going to hear is that we don't care about education, we don't care about family. But if you really look, we have very tight-knit family.
Yeah, very so.
That we do is built around teaching our culture and uplifting our culture, and making sure that our kids have their education. I mean, that's really what the Talented 10th was all about.
Yes.
So I think we like to make a joke about pushing the negative narrative, but I really wish that we were doing that, because we're degrading our culture by doing that.
Exactly. And the whole Black people aren't strong about education, that is a myth, and that has always been a myth, because many of the HBCUs that are in existence today were created by slaves and ex-slaves, one generation out of slavery, and we were building our own educational institutions. So it had to have been important to us.
Yeah, they survived integration. There were very few institutions that survived integration.
Yes.
The HBCUs were one of them. The church was another. And the other two were funeral homes.
Yes.
The beauty salon industry, because we don't like other people doing our hair. So that was one thing that we
exactly.
It survived. Yeah, I did some research on it for my first book about the that survived integration, and there was only a few. And you named one of them, The other ones were the ones I named, and that was the truth. Now I want to ask you
Exactly.
something on social media. I want
Uh-huh.
to see if this happens to you on social media. Every now and then I will, and I always delete and block, but
Mm-hmm.
I will get some person, and it's a white person that says
Mm-hmm.
that our event is racist, and
Oh my goodness.
I don't even respond because I get notifications on my phone whenever somebody comments, and as soon as I see it, I block and delete. I don't even, because if you're that stupid, then you shouldn't be. I don't want you to have access to our page.
That happens all the time, especially when I do the sponsored ads for the book festival.
Yes.
Oh, they're mad that it's on their page and they have
Yeah.
so much to say. And I do normally block and delete them. Some
Y'all gotta
people
learn how to
engage,
target,
huh?
learn how to target these ads so you can
And I
limit
do
the number of
use the
scrolls.
target, so I'm not sure how, those other folks are seeing it. However, I don't get mad because the way the Facebook algorithms work, as long as you commenting and you hitting the
It's
reaction,
gonna
even
keep
if it is
moving.
the
It's
angry
gonna
one,
keep going
all
forward.
you doing is boosting my post for free. Thank you, haters.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I block
Um,
and delete because I don't want that on any of my pages, period. I don't want somebody
exactly.
else to come on and read it and be offended or
Yes.
respond. I don't want any kind of back and forth on that. So
I've had that too, where some of my followers are trying to go toe to toe with them, and I'm
right.
like, let it go.
I
Don't
immediately
engage.
no,
Don't engage
no,
with them because that's what they want.
no. And then
Yes.
sometimes they'll say something like, "What if I had a white national white book festival?" And what I want to say, but I don't. I just block and delete. Um, you do all the other ones. Because
I've gotten that comment too, and they'll say, "Well, why isn't there a white book festival?" And I say, "Because you haven't created one." Block, delete.
well, but
If
they're
you want
white. They'll have 2 or 3 black people, and that's
one, yeah.
it. So
Well,
it's for all intents and purposes is,
mhm,
and I don't have a problem with that because if I want to go, I can still go.
yes,
But I don't need to be at your event. I can make my own. So
exactly.
just go somewhere and sit down. Leave
You
us alone.
know, I just laugh at them. I tell them, create one. Create a white book festival. Do it.
If y'all don't stop letting all y'all frustrations out on this show right now.
Yeah, but it does happen when you do sponsored ads. And I
Yes.
posted mine too. And we have almost 100,000 followers. So
Yes.
our stuff gets out there, I guess, but it's only
Mhm.
supposed to go to friends, fans, and friends of fans. So
Yes.
some of my fans, I guess, they're cooked up with these people, and they see, and they're so offended.
Okay, I'm going back to my backlist.
They're so offended. I'm like, why? And here's something else I want to say, but I don't engage in. Yeah, I am taking my frustrations out, Ron. Because if you're not offended by St. Patrick's Day
Mhm.
or Cinco de Mayo, these are cultural events. I'm
Mhm.
not offended by St. Patrick's Day. It's not my holiday.
Mhm.
But if they want to celebrate it, more power to them. Then, leave us alone and let us have our own stuff.
Yeah.
We do, and if you want to support, now we do get sponsors, we do get sponsors.
Yes.
They reach out to us. So, and we appreciate it. So they get it, but this is something.
Mhm. Yeah.
So take us through the day of your event. How does it start and what happens throughout the day?
Okay, so because the event is at the Second Baptist Community Center right next to Carver Library, it kind of takes place in both places. So the authors are set up at the community center in the gym. They normally arrive around 10:30, 11 o'clock to set up, and then the general public arrives at 12 o'clock when the event starts. So what we have, of course, are the tables set up. The authors are engaging with the attendees, promoting themselves, promoting their work, making sales, of course. We have our amazing MC, Brother Mondrea. He's a spoken word artist. He has an amazing personality, amazing energy. So he just keeps the place going, you know. And while that's happening, next door at Carver Library, we also have activities for kids. So we'll normally have, you know, throughout the library, different activities, Black Month focused types of activities. We have story time for the younger kids. And we also have book writing workshops. So children can come and kind of learn the basics of how to write their own book. We give them, you know, a notebook or a little blank book so that they can start creating their own narratives. And we don't really push, you know, everything has to be spelled right or, you know, a lot of structure. We want them to be as creative as possible. They can write about whatever they want, you know, that way we can get them writing and reading. The children are excited to have their own books. You know, they want to show mom and dad, they want us to read it. And we like that they get excited over learning, because as long as they're excited about learning, they'll have that motivation to keep doing it throughout their lifetime.
Right.
We also normally have one or multiple keynote authors. These are different authors that we select to speak on different, maybe Black history type conversations, other things that are directly affected by or that affect the Black community, especially in San Antonio. We have food vendors. We'll normally have food trucks outside. One thing that we do is we always invite OBU, which is the Organization of Black Unity. We invite them to be food vendors. They don't have to pay a fee, so that they can raise funds for their organization. And these folks are amazing. They have a school. They are teaching children. They're teaching children algebra in like second grade. And they're teaching them from a Black-centered, an African-American centered lesson plan, if you might say. And one thing I love about going to OBU is there's a big giant statue of Marcus Garvey right in the front. Yeah. You know, so it's an amazing place. They're doing awesome things. They promote Black unity. So we normally have them come and they participate as a food vendor to raise funds for their organization. We always invite the Girl Scouts. We have a little Girl Scout troop that meets right at the community center that we have the book festival at, mostly in African-American girls. So we let them come out and sell their cookies so they can meet their goals. You know, we like to do things like that. We'll have normally vendors selling sweets, different types of food, maybe Jamaican food, Creole food, but just something that speaks to the Black culture, because food is really important in our culture. Yes.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that we are supporting everybody in our community any way that we can. We normally let the authors, we kind of go around on Facebook Live, let the authors introduce themselves because we want to promote them as much as we can. Nobody else is going to support us but us. So we have to go all the way on 10 when we do it. You know, one thing I love about promoting the authors is how excited that they are by the support that we give them. Because our participating authors, one, we share them all over Facebook, their picture, their bios, links to purchase their books. We share them on our website. We list all the authors. And again, there's their links. You can shop with them. In fact, I want to say last year's authors are still listed on our Facebook page, on our website. So it's not like we put you on there for a month and we take you down. We leave them on there until the next year's authors come on. And we remind the community, hey, if you missed the book festival, you can still, you know, purchase from our authors. Another thing we do is we have a program book. This is,
Moving away.
There we go.
Okay.
This is our program book. Oh, it doesn't like the book.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't.
And-
Maybe try putting it close to you and see what happens.
Okay.
Close to your
There
body.
we go.
Then you
Uh-oh.
can still
Disappeared.
So right about there. You can barely
Okay.
see it, but all the authors, their picture and bio, we have them in the program book along with ads from our sponsors so that people can take that home with them from the book festival. Because of course, we'll have, like this year, we're gonna have, I think, 70 authors. You're probably not gonna be able to buy books from each one of them, but you can take the program book home, and each month, each pay period, you can say, let me pick a different author to purchase a book from. You know, that way the promotion they get, it lasts. You know, there's people who still have last year's book, the program book, the one before that, the one before that. That way, the authors who participate, they can really boost their clientele because people have something tangible that they can go back to. Like, I remember I went to this book festival. It was somebody's book I wanted, you know, and they can go through the pages and say, oh, that was her. I'm going to order her book, you know. So the main goal is to promote our authors, to give them the confidence to keep going, to let them know we're proud of them.
Okay, well, Monica, we're at the end of our time. And what we want you to do is just tell people the date again for your
Yes.
San Antonio African American Book Festival. And you can find the information online. Just put that in Facebook or just Google it.
Yep.
Give
Yep.
us the dates. Give us the date
It
again.
is Saturday, February 24th from noon, excuse me, from noon to 5 p.m. at Second Baptist Community Center. The address is 3310 East Commerce Street. It is right next door to the prestigious Carver Library on the historic east side of San Antonio. And we hope to see you all there.
Well, we did put your website in the chat. So
Yes.
So if anybody who's watching is in the San Antonio area or close to it, make sure you go and support this event because it sounds absolutely amazing.
For you, it's for us, by us.
Amen.
Well, much success with your event, Monica, and I hope that our audience supports it, and at least we were able to give you a little publicity for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, and we sure appreciate it.
Okay,
Right.
have a great night.
What you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, and we are moving right along to our final guest. Did someone win the book? Rhonda, would you able to see if we had a winner for the book?
Did not see anybody win the book. Let me go back and look.
Okay,
No,
meanwhile,
anybody guessed.
okay, well, if no one guessed it, then no one can win it. You have to win it. You have to guess it to win. Okay, so we are moving right along to our final guest. Oh, I think Lydia did. Well, no, Lydia and Curtis, and I can't tell who did it first. So
Let me scroll
check
back
it
up.
out. And yeah, check that out. But meanwhile, Melanie Bonita is our final guest for tonight, and she is not only an author, but she's also a coach and speaker, and she teaches authors how to make a six-figure income from their books. And so, Melanie, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Hey Melanie, I need 6 figures from my books. So come on, let's get to it, girl.
I love it, Dr. Rhonda. Like, let's go. Like, we don't have time to wait. We don't have time. Just get straight to the point.
We got 25 minutes. We got facing a pack in here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So before
Go ahead.
that, you do have a book called The Daily Dose of Direction for Women in Business. So I do want you to tell us a little bit about that. Is that book out or is it coming out?
That book is out. I currently have 9 #1 Amazon bestselling books. So that's just one of my books.
Okay.
In the Daily Dose series. But yeah, that's a very popular book for women in business. Yes.
Okay, so are all of your books business related?
No, ma'am. Actually, most of my books are daily devotionals. So, but they're daily devotionals with a twist. So they're daily devotionals, combination of self-help. So it's very different because my daily devotionals give you the word of God, but then I give you action steps on how to implement them, because in the word of God, it says faith without works is dead. And a lot of people are just reading the word and they're not doing the word. And because they're just reading it and not taking action on it, it's just, they're not getting the results they want to get. And so when God gave me the Daily Dose series, it's a daily devotional to teach people how to do things different. So I have a daily dose of direction for women in business. I have a daily dose of declarations where like affirmations and daily declarations. I have one for mothers, daily dose of divine inspiration for mothers. I have one for, so one is to help you get more determined to live your dreams, daily dose of determination. Then I have daily dose of decisions to help you make better decisions in the future than you've made in the past. And I have one actually coming out and being released. We're setting it up for pre-orders on March the 1st. It's daily dose of prayer to help people start having a daily prayer life. So I have a bunch of daily dose books.
Well, you know, when you find a vein, stick with it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yes.
having said that, and we've talked on the phone too, and you talked about Les Brown reached out to you about your work. So you mentioned to me that you know a lot of people who are really making six figures online with their books, on social media, promoting their work. And just give us your general methodology. We want you to get clients, so we don't want you to tell the whole sauce, you know, the tea. Don't tell all the tea. But anyway, we want you to just let people know how to go about doing that. And I don't want you to give them a pie in the sky. That's you know, give them the real stuff, because I know it takes work. I know it's, you know, like you said, faith without works is dead. So just give us the basis of how a person can build that.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I do is I help the authors learn how to turn their book into a business. And so you don't have to just have the book. You want to create what I consider, you want to have multiple streams of income around that book. So I teach authors how to create streams of income around their book and turn it into a business so that you're not just relying on that book. And the next thing is I teach how creative ways how to really create more income from your book. So people shouldn't just be selling one book. I teach you how to sell multiple books at multiple times and selling your books in bulk, selling your books to government agencies, selling your books to book clubs, selling your books so that you're not saying, oh, I'm going to an event and I'm selling one book at a time. No, when you go to an event, you meet with one person, you should be selling multiple books to one person. So I teach just so many different strategies on how to create multiple streams of income around your book, how to sell more books in bulk, and really how to make this thing a business and not just a book. And that's really the main things that I do to help them create a six-figure stream of income. But most people, they just don't know how to do it. So
that was going to be my question, because you see a lot of authors who will say, okay, I'm going to teach people how to write books, or I'm going to promote on social media, or I'm going to try to market myself as a speaker. But if nobody knows about these things, then it's like not having it. So how do I can create these streams of income, but how do I get people to buy into it?
Marketing strategies. So in my academy, I teach the marketing strategies. So after I teach you how to create these streams of income, then I also not only teach you the marketing strategies, but I teach you how to get out there. Like I was talking to Gwen about even social media. Social media is a big part of it. In 2024, there should be no reason why people are broke. There are 10, 15-year-old kids that are making money on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook. And it's just like they're 15. They haven't even finished high school, you know? And so it's like 30 years ago, and we thinking about like Les Brown and the great Dr. Willie Jolly and people like that, when they were getting speaking engagements, they had to make calls, they had to knock on doors, they had to do it the hard way. You know, when I remember when people were promoting for concerts, I don't know if you remember the James Brown movie. I mean, he was relentless. He did what he needed to do to make it happen. And to me, authors are lazy now. It's like you want to make money from your book, but you're not even
bougie.
Bougie, lazy, you can call it what you
We wrote the book. We are good. We got our platform. Y'all need to be coming to me. I don't need
That's what they tell me.
anything. Y'all
No, I tell authors, you've heard if you build it, they will come. No, they ain't coming. You have to promote it. You can't just have the book and think it's gonna promote itself. It doesn't. It doesn't work.
Okay, I'm coming to San Antonio. I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to the DMV. They need to know I'm here. Those promoters should be promoting me. I don't need to tell nobody I'm coming. Y'all, that's your job.
No, but you're right. And they think, oh, if I posted it right, oh, I posted my book one time. These authors now, they don't even have book release events anymore. They don't, I'm like, what are you doing? What do you mean you're not having it? I mean, they just think if I just post it, you have a whole 200 followers and you post your book and you think, oh, well, my publisher put it on Amazon and I know people on Amazon are buying it. Why would they buy it when people are paying for Amazon ads? People are paying for Facebook ads. They're paying for, I mean, it's so many marketing strategies. I mean, you could literally sell books out the trunk of your car every single day if you were determined to go do it. And like I said, just a lot of people are complacent. And just like you said, they just think everybody should come to them. And it's like, no, we have to have a different mindset. And we have to say, you know what? I'm going to set a daily goal and I'm not going to stop until I reach this daily goal. I have a daily goal of how many books I'm going to sell, how many speaking engagements I'm going to get, how many book signings. You don't have to wait and it's great. I love the National Black Authors, the expo that you're having in Houston but you don't have to wait till October to sell your books. You don't have to wait till every
year. Maybe that's what happens. People wait and think they're going to sell all their books at the festival. And I tell them, look, the festival, it's about the contacts that you're going to make. Because you'll sell books, but the contacts that you make are priceless. You'll never be able to see all these different people and from all of these parts of the literary world in one place where you can touch and feel and talk to them and ask them questions. Never. The connections you'll make will be priceless.
I'm gonna tell you this. You're talking about connections, Gwen. I don't make a lot of money during that weekend. I have a few people who come to my table and buy books, but on the back end, I have people who sign up for my Black History Month event. I have people who will sign up to be on my show, and then some of the people who sign up to be on the show will purchase a one sheet. Or they'll purchase a promotional package. So a lot of my money that I make comes on the back end. But I think what happens, especially when you're a new and upcoming author, you think that the money is supposed to come now.
Right.
They don't value
one day.
Right. They don't value the connection.
But you're right. No, right. That's good because I do that. So I go from event to event. So I may meet somebody at one event and I literally will get 3 or 4 other events because I'm having a conversation with them. And they're telling me, oh, we're doing this, or can you come speak at my church? Or do you speak at churches? Like I do before COVID, I do book signings at military bases. That's one of the things I teach also. Because again, you can go every week if you want to. You could go during the week if you don't work a job. I've been a full-time author, speaker, and coach for over 7 years, almost 8 years now. And so when I have time during the week, I will go to the military bases and sell my books. At the military bases, I meet so many people. I get so many speaking engagements. I get so many opportunities. But again, even at that, I don't wait till the opportunities. There's so many places you can go, and I'm not going to share that secret, because I teach it in my academy. But I teach them how to go find different events and how to pitch the people on, how can you be a speaker at that event, or how can I literally sell my books at that event. There's events going on every weekend. It doesn't have to be a big authors expo to sell your books at. It could be a women's conference. It could be anything. And so I'm like, I contacted a bookstore today, and she's gonna have my authors put their bookstores in tomorrow. I contact bookstores almost every week. It's just so many things we can do to sell these books and become a six-figure author and get them out there. Okay, so what, JK, you want to be the next JK Rollins? Can you do it if you get out there enough? Absolutely. But we have to get out there, and we can't sit back and wait. We have to take it by force, take action, and say, you know what? I'm going to make this amount of contacts this week. I'm going to contact this many libraries. I'm going to contact this many book clubs. I'm going to contact, there's so many people you could contact, and they're looking for books to buy. The government is looking for, the prison systems are looking for, they will buy thousands of books at a time. The schools are looking for your books. There's no reason why an author should be
a
broke.
little known secret that you touched on. When you're talking about looking for events and festivals, things like that, I think another mistake that we as authors make is thinking that we can only sign up for book festivals. But there are music festivals, and I've gone to so many music festivals where there are very few authors selling their books. So that's a little competition that you have. You have hardly any competition by signing up and selling your book at a music festival. Or
women's conferences are a good place too.
Yeah. Well,
because 75% of book buyers are females.
Right. But no, here's a funny thing. Let's say you like the strip clubs and stuff like that. If you sell erotica, who's in the mood to read your book? The people at the strip club. So why not go there and sell your book?
I don't know I wouldn't know, but anyway.
I said erotica. They probably wouldn't be buying my book.
Yeah, I know. I just say I've only been to a strip club twice, and that was both times. The first time it was by mistake.
You been to the strip club?
It was by mistake. I didn't realize it was a strip club. I thought I went for lunch. It was in the day. It was in the middle of the day. I went. In Houston, they don't have zoning. And I was new to Houston. This is off topic, but anyway, I was new to Houston.
I learned so many things about this every time you do the show.
There was a place called Babes. I'll never forget it. There was a place called Babes, but there was no women on the billboard. I just thought it was a restaurant. I said, okay, I'll go in here and get a burger. Then I go sit down, and I look at the menu. It's kind of dark, but it doesn't really dawn on me. And because there's no music playing yet. And I look at the menu and I said, well, these things this is expensive, but let me just get a burger. So then I'm sitting there, and then the music starts playing. Oh, I look around first, and I said, it's only men in here. I'm the only woman in here. This happened years ago. And then the music starts playing, and then the woman comes on the stage. I'm like, oh my God, I ran out of there so fast. So anyway, that was my strip club. That was the time. And the other time I went, I had to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't wait. So I just went to the bathroom and came out.
Did you take your burger with you when you ran out? That's what I want to know.
No, I didn't. The food hadn't arrived yet. So I didn't have to wait. But that was my only time in the strip club. And really, like, in there. And the other time, like I say, it was in DC. The other time I had to use the bathroom. I was in DuPont Circle, getting off the bus or subway. I had to use the bathroom, and that was the only place that was open.
Wow.
So Melanie,
the
Six Figure Author Academy, and I just put the link in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Okay, awesome. Yes, the 6 Feet Author Academy. And I'll give you like just a few more tips that I share with the authors, because you can have people come up to you, especially if you're out and about. So I'll give you an example. If you
Okay.
can see, I have on a shirt. The shirt says,
About my
ask
book.
me about my book, right?
Okay.
So I get people when I wear this out, ask me about my book all the time. I have one other strategy I'm gonna share, and then everybody else gotta join the academy. So the other one of the other strategies, and then I want to go back to the conferences because you mentioned something. But one of the other things I do is I encourage authors always, especially if you're a woman. If you're a guy, it's a little different. You may have to have a backpack, but I carry transparent bags, right? Transparent bags. Your book covers in your, put your books, put your flyers, put your bookmarks. People are nosy by nature. Okay. I remember the first time I went to one of my chiropractors and he was like, "Oh, you're an author?" I said, "Yeah, how did you know?" He said, "Oh, I see the book in your," he saw the book, he saw my bookmark, he saw my, and it had my name on it and it had the flyer. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were an author." And he bought several books to put in his chiropractor office, right? And so transparent bags, again, for guys, it could be a transparent book bag, but keep those on you so that people can see that you are an author, you have a book. So those are just 2 tips that people will ask you about your books without you having to tell them, and when you're out and about every day. And
And
so
I have a question for you before you keep going. I have a question because you have an outgoing personality, and a lot of authors are shy. They really aren't marketing people. They're more introverts. So what if a person is an introvert and they're not gonna be as aggressive about what they're doing? Do
no,
you have
that's
something
why I
for
teach
those
it.
people?
No, I teach that. And I teach that in my academy. And I even have a YouTube video that it talks about that. And one of the girls, she actually gave me a testimony. She said, I went out and did what she said in my YouTube video, and she sold like 4 books. So I give you strategies. So if you're introvert, it's something easy to start a conversation. Always give people a compliment. Give them a compliment and it opens people up. So if you're at the grocery store, you're at the gas station, even if you don't know what to say, "Oh, girl, I love your earrings. Oh, I love your hair." And so that's an easy way as an introvert to start a conversation. 2 things. Give them a compliment. Ask them, can you bless them with a bookmark? That opens up the door. I tell them, give out 10 bookmarks a day or postcards or something for your books, but people like bookmarks. They feel like you're actually giving them something. If you give them a business card or a postcard, they're feeling like you're trying to sell them or something. But if you give them a bookmark, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I love this. You're an author." And then they'll say, "Tell me about your book." So I give them a whole, training on how to handle that. And a lot of them sell books right then and there out of their purses. So I tell them, keep a couple books in your purse. It may be a little heavy, and depending on how big your books are. But that's one thing an introvert could do, or like you do, have a show. You can have a show on YouTube, on Facebook, and even though you're introverted, you can still have a show and have book discussions. So there's a lot of things you can do. There's creative things you can do, but you got to let people know. You have to let people know about your books. Another thing I do is actually have a list of book promoters, and the book promoters will promote their books to over 3 million readers. So that's one of the ways I've helped make over 300 authors Amazon bestsellers. So again, I have creative things that I could teach them how to do without, even if they don't want to approach people, they could pay and invest and hire these book promoters to promote them. Again, and like I said, there's Amazon ads. You have to, that's a whole strategy with that. And then, there's Facebook ads, and, there's different, you just have to know how to do it and what to do, but you just can't sit back and just have your book on Amazon and think that the world's going to know about it just because the world does go to Amazon. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I tell
A lot
people
of
there are
books on
millions
Amazon.
of books on Amazon, millions, literally. I mean, millions and millions. So how do you make your book stand out? Because for them to find your book, they have to be going on there looking for it. Or now you can put a link on whatever you are promoting, but you have to have enough people to see it to make, if nobody sees it, it's like the tree that fell in the forest. didn't make a sound if nobody, didn't really make a sound if nobody's there to hear it. So you can't just say, well, my book is on Amazon and think you're going to get sales. That doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And then they get discouraged, and then they don't,
They do.
they do. And I get people tell me every day, oh, I'm discouraged that I don't want to even work on my next book. I'm supposed to be working on 2 more books, but they don't even want to work on other books. Or some of them tell me, oh, I only wrote my book because, God told me to write it. Well, that's why I wrote my book, but he wrote the book. He told you to write the book because somebody needs what you have. My first book, people literally told me it kept them from committing suicide. They told me it saved their marriage. They told me, I've gotten so many testimonies on how it has helped people from coming out of suicide to helping people start their business, start their ministry. They even told me it helped them write their book. I didn't know that. I just know I wrote down what God told me to write. I wrote the book, and I was determined to get it out there and let lottie dottie everybody know. Everybody should know about your book. You shouldn't go to a mega church and you're a minister in a mega church and nobody in that church knows you have a book.
Right.
And I run into a lot of people. They say, oh, I only wrote it because God told me. Well, he didn't tell you to keep it under your bed or in the trunk of the car. No, too many people tell me, I got 500 books in my basement. 500 books. Like, I can't keep that many books. I'm like, literally, like, why are they in your basement? Why do you have an extra room full of books? Why are they in your garage? Why, people tell me, oh, I got 250 books in your garage.
I tell people, start with this. If you was KDP, you can order 1 copy or 1,000 copies and it's the same price. So start with a small number and then reorder. You don't have to start because you need to figure out how to sell 10 first before you can sell 500. So start, reorder. That way you don't get stuck with a lot of books. If you don't have a sales personality or a sales strategy. Now, or
strategy, that's good.
Academy.
Yeah, right. No, that's good. The strategy is good. You want to have a book marketing strategy, but I'm a bit, I tell them be an expectation. So I don't want them just to, not sell the book.
I agree. You can be an expectation, but you can still order smaller quantities and then keep ordering.
Right.
And, you don't have to invest it all up front.
Right.
Because some people, they can't really afford to have 500 books in their garage.
Right.
They really hadn't planned on collecting them.
I don't really want 500 books in my garage.
So, start small and keep it going. Well, Melanie, this has been an eye-opener, and we're going to be talking later on as well. So let people know how they can become part of your academy and how they can be in touch with you. If
Absolutely.
they set the world on fire with their books and have a 6-figure income.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love she said set the world on fire.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, you can go to sixfigureauthoracademy.com. And you don't want to wait. You don't want to procrastinate. You want to, and that's the other thing I found. A lot of authors they wait. And my prices increased on January the 1st. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. They thought they were going to sign up no, don't keep waiting. People are waiting for your books. So they could contact me there. They could follow me on Instagram. They could definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. You subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I do have a playlist on my YouTube channel where you can get some book marketing strategies on my YouTube channel. So those are places you can go if you say, okay, the $77 a month is not in my budget right now. It's $77 a month. If your book is $20, you sell 4 books, you're going to cover that. So, but we want to be proactive and not reactive, and you want to be prepared. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere social media except Snapchat, but anywhere social media is, you can definitely find me and connect with me. But you definitely want to go to 6-Figure Author Academy and invest in yourself. When you get your income tax return, don't go out and go shopping. Invest in yourself and learn how to make money from the book so you could get free from your job and you could become a six-figure author like me. Thank you for having me.
Okay, it's been very entertaining and informative as well. And you're full of a bundle of energy. That's great. I love it. So, especially, when it's at nighttime, sometimes people might get a little sleepy, but you woke them up with your message.
Yep. Yeah, because
Thank
it's 10
you.
o'clock here in the day.
Yeah, it is. So, thank you so much, Melanie, for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
I really enjoyed it. Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay, well, we are done for this week, and we appreciate you all for tuning in. As far as the book, I'm going to look at the order and I'll figure out who
I
came in
still don't
first.
see them. I'm
Now,
glad
I
you
saw it was Lydia and Curtis, and I don't know which one came first. So we'll figure it out afterwards, and because we want to end the show on time. So that's it for this week on Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.